In terms of the teams that we've been watching so far, now we have 2 months under our belt with just data and scores and matchups. So let's talk about underrated squads. What can you say about some of your underrated teams that you have on our agenda tonight?
Okay, so the first one for me that I know that we've bet on, we wrote it yesterday to a nice money line win, some plus odds, is Fordham out of the Atlantic 10. Now, I know a lot of people hearing me say Fordham are like, seriously, like the bottom feeder, the school that everybody just kind of uses as a practice game. Like, hey, we're going to let some of these bench players play a little bit more, knowing we're going to win by double digits or run some different offensive or defensive systems just to see how it works. Yeah, that Fordham team. But really, it kind of struck me in the offseason, like you're talking about the different transfers, the different things that were happening because basketball as a whole, college basketball, has just evolved to another level with being able to transfer
Oh yeah.
one time and not have to sit out. So when I first was going through the different lists of transfers and different new head coach hires, Fordham was one of the first ones that jumped off the page, and it really started with the head coach.
Mhm.
So I mean, Fordham's always had that like losing vibe. They're always going to be that bottom feeder, never win the conference, never even come close, always be picked last. And
Mhm.
then I saw that they had a really, really nice hire in a guy named Kyle Neptune, who was the assistant coach of Villanova for the last 8 years. So you're bringing into a program that doesn't know a winning way with a winning culture coach that can't stand for anything other than winning. I mean, he has 2 national titles, 5 Big East regular season conference championships. So he has that experience and know-how of how to get teams to play the way he wants them to play. Um, and then it just kind of has come together for them, but it didn't start like that right away. So they were kind of on my under the radar team and then kind of teetered off, but got right back on it. And what I mean by that is when you look at the way they played the first 3 games, they lost to Manhattan by 6. So again, sounds like a Fordham team. And then they lost to Maryland Eastern Shore by 2, which really puts the punctuation mark on this is a normal Fordham team that you should never bet on.
Mhm.
Um, but something clicked after that game. And it seemed like because after that, they went to Akron and they beat them by 20.
Yep.
And then ever since then, they've played just the way like you almost would see a Villanova team. And they have those kind of players when you look at the 2 transfers they brought in, one from FIU and Antonio Day Jr., and one from Youngstown State and Darius Quisenberry. Both average double digits at their last schools, come here, and they're both averaging over 16.5 points a game and doing it consistently. They both
Right.
have scored in double figures every game but one. But what really makes this team very interesting is the big man down low in Chuba Ohams. That guy, in my mind, is what makes this Fordham team an actually kind of special team this year that could have a Cinderella story, could beat a St. Bonaventure, Richmond. I might even say a Davidson. I know people probably laughing, but even you're laughing. I mean, I get it. But he's that kind of anchor. He's that big man that you want behind because not only does he average a double double, he's fourth in the country in rebounds per game, first in the Atlantic 10. But the dude is a blocking machine. Like I was talking about, we backed them last night for a money line play as a 2.5 point underdog against Duquesne, and he comes out and he posts 8 blocks and they win by 1. If he's not down low, not playing that big man that allows them to play that aggressive defense, then they're not able to force different turnovers to get on a fast break and make that last second layup with 3 seconds left to win the game by 1.
Right.
So when you couple those things together, you have 2 guards that can go off for you at any point in time for 20 plus points. You got a big man that averages a double double that can just erase mistakes right away, which allows them to play that Villanova type style defense, get in your face, pressure you 5 feet behind the 3 point line so that you don't get those easy passes, easy cuts to the basket, easy open looks. And then the last thing I'll say about them is when you look at them from a against the spread kind of
Mhm.
philosophy is they're 10-5 against the spread, and they're 6-2 against the spread as an underdog, and they're covering by an average of 7.5 points.
Wow.
So thinking about the Atlantic 10, like I was talking about, you have St. Bonaventure, Richmond, VCU, Davidson, Rhode Island, all these teams that are going to come into Fordham as heavily favored and then going to them as heavily favored. You're going to get this nice kind of double-digit spread with the Fordham team that's surprising a lot of people, but Vegas hasn't caught on yet because, again, they have that vibe and persona as it's Fordham. They're going to get crushed. They're not going to be in these games. But they have that senior leadership that I've definitely put them under the radar. We're riding them hot right now, and we're going to keep riding them for the remainder of the season.
You have been probably one of the only people I've seen online on Fordham, and yet it has been obviously one of the better plays this season so far. But as you're talking about the A-10 and just talking about the other teams, I was like, let me check out the standings because I really hadn't caught up to the standings yet. Fordham's 2-0 in conference play. Davidson's 3-0. VCU's 3-0. St. Bonaventure's 1-0. So you look at these teams, Davidson, VCU, Fordham, St. Bonnie's, Dayton, Rhode Island, SLU, even St. Joe's, Richmond. There's a lot of competition at the top half of this table. I